Like, we haven't operated since yesterday. Today it is still closed.
Stench, first of all, is unbearable. When you are inside the restaurant, it is just too much. Both gates have been blocked, so nobody can access.
I mean, could anyone have anticipated what happened? Jamila, honestly, you'll be the one to start this trashy talk. I remember, you know, in the morning, during our morning meeting, when Pamela Sigi said, you know, there's something happening, you know, at Stima Plaza. I mean, I honestly couldn't believe it. I mean, I thought, no, I mean...
Kulinuka.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Kulinuka.
I mean, I really did think it was unbelievable until we saw the videos and even started the coverage of all the things I thought I would cover as a journalist. This is certainly not one of them. I mean, what in the world?
It's all over a debt dispute. And as you say, on Monday we were having a meeting, and in fact the videos that started circulating of this rundo la taka in Swahili outside Stima Plaza, and you could clearly see ini taka. And then there were two other lorries which had taka pia that had not, as you call it, in fact, I think we have the pictures on screen there. And the reason why those trucks were still there was because they had been blocked by KPLC one. So what happened?
Well, they had no...
Yeah, well, was we. So this showdown began when KPLC cut power to county offices over 3 billion shillings debt. Of course, this money has been disputed by the county, saying that the amount is less. They say it's about $1 billion plus. But that was what started this whole thing. And then the county retaliates and says, well, KPLC owes us 4.8 billion shillings in way-leave fees. That was day one. So there was this whole back and forth with KPLC accusing the county government of, is this a way to solve a dispute? And then the county officials had their all press conference afterwards, and they were clearly not regretting the decision that was made. I think there's a soundbite, Yvonne, that we should listen to of the county officials reacting to this malalamishi from KPLC that umetumwagia takataka nje ya building yetu. But why? Maybe let's listen to the bite.
The same way they ask the rest of us to pay their bills, have a duty and responsibility to pay to the Nairobi City County government for the services we offer them, including the service of well leaves and land rates.
Hii tunaita kujipiga kifua. Because remember, after the power was cut off, there were some talks, there were some negotiations, ikarudishwa. But then this happened after your power imesharudishwa, because I think the county government had pledged to pay about 130 million or thereabouts, just to try and punguza lile deni. But then this happens on Monday, the week after. And then now for a second, and because of the garbage and the stench, one, people are unable to work. Two, you saw the lady speaking, they own, I think, a restaurant right there in Stima Plaza, while people are quite inconvenienced. And then remember, it's just not only KPLC that has offices in that building. There are other tenants. So this whole thing blew out of proportion, because when you were listening to the county officials, walikuwa nasema, too bad, like hatujali. They did this to us in kulipiza kisasi, Yvonne, and it became really bad because this standoff continued. What surprised all of us is that, one, we had finally, after how many days, that the Minister of Interior speaks, then we had the police say something, NEMA spoke. But I think it's interesting that we listen to the Governor, Johnson Sakaja, speaking on the same before we continue with this conversation.
The first thing we've resolved that all hostilities end and issues be sorted out amicably. We have now given instructions to restore water supply to their premises and to remove the trucks that had been blocking access.
But Yvonne, we're wondering why no one asked him, was this the best way to have dealt with this issue?
Actually, he did address that. Let's listen.
That is not how Nairobi County operates, and our own action will be dealt with internally.
So
dealt with internally.
So no, it's not how they operate.
Who was operating?
So those trucks belonged to whom? And the fact that they stayed there for 2 days, By the way, he was flanked by Godfrey Akumali, who is, you know, a CEC, as well as Richard, is that his first name? Kerich, yes.
Charles Kerich.
Charles Kerich, yes. So he was flanked by those guys. He saw them speak on Monday so defiantly, and this stretched out. Where was he? Where was the county governor of the capital city of Nairobi when all of this was happening there? So this is not how they operate. So who was that who was operating out there? And does this have to take more than 48 hours to resolve? We need better answers, you know, from the county government. And they can give, for me, all these explanations about way leaves. Let me tell you, yeah? Average Kenyan, those ladies who sell fish, the ones who have restaurants, do not care about way leaves. They don't care about those things. Bottom line for me is the trash. With that, even Sam's numbers, and you did some great numbers, by the way, about who owes who money. Bottom line of this whole thing was dumping trash outside. My question is, all these guys went home and said, that was a good job, well done. When their wives asked them, how was your day, darling? They said, it was perfect.
Nearly dumped a
I dumped. When their children asked them, how do you resolve disputes? What do you think they tell their children? All you need to do is go spew sewage or whatever it is that comes out, you know, at your rival's doorstep. What in the world were they thinking? So for me, all those nice fancy words and those big numbers amount to nothing except for that action, which we're now told they don't operate that way. I'm sorry. That's just the bottom line for me. Without all this kizungu mingi.
Yvonne, this is anarchy. There's no better way to describe it. And I think Johnson Arthur Sakaja's administration took us back to the city hall of the Kanjos, that everything was settled in a manner that suggested we were still archaic. Making it worse is that all the social media posts that had this thing were liked by the very Jay Sakaja.
Yes.
So it tells you it had his stamp of approval.
Yeah.
And
I think do we have it?
Yes,
we need to. Yeah, we need to show, because, yeah, just to illustrate, you know, what you're saying, Jay. And we can even put it on the screen here for us to see. So there it is. Oh, yeah. It's a tweet by us, you know. Liked by, look at it right there, Johnson Sakaja. But then he said, this is
how we operate.
But then he says, this is, okay, so he didn't mean to like this post? Or what does that mean?
He liked.
You see, this was on the video.
Yes. Yeah, this was on the video, the first day.
Of the first dump.
Day, yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the quote there was, come off your high horse, KPLC, you know.
City.
But he liked it.
He did.
He likes
But that's how he operates.
That is how he operates, because look at it, Yvonne. Institutions, especially government institutions, have got this idea that when somebody owes you money, there's always a give and take. Favor for favor. That is how institutions work. So what is it that I owe you, and how much is it? What service will I offer you so that you discount it for me? KPLC will tell you that they've been having negotiations with these guys.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, these guys did not meet the end of the bargain. They were supposed to give them, I think, 110 million.
30.
They only sent in 36 million Kenya shillings, which to KPLC, it was not how we agreed to do this thing.
Yeah.
Then Johnson Arthur Sakaja finds it best to take trash to Steamer Plaza that hosts Kenya Power and a whole lot of other businesses.
Yeah. That building isn't even owned by Kenya Power.
Yes.
Pensioners.
Yeah.
It's a pensions fund.
Yes. Yeah.
If you take a stroll around Ngara, where this Steamer Plaza is,
My hometown.
you'll always see a lot of elderly people around there.
Yeah.
I can imagine the health risks.
The other side, yes.
Yes. The health risk that Sakaja, whose health department is deplorable as at now, is exposing all these people to. It tells you he enjoys such kind of madness. I mean, it's not even regrettable that he did that. I think it's plainly outward.
Yeah, and I think it goes right to his doorstep.
Oh, yes.
By the time his two CECs were speaking the way they were on Monday, they can't have been saying what they were saying without his blessing.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that when they had the press conference after having a brokered meeting that was chaired by the head of public service.
And the CS Energy was also.
Remember, during that press conference, they were cheering him on as he said, you know, what he did. So this actually falls squarely at the governor's doorstep. And really, it's like, you know, children in a pram throwing their toys when they're upset. I mean, this is not how grown men and women conduct themselves in public and resolve disputes. Linus, honestly, I don't know, this thing just...
I think by saying grown up, you're being presumptive. Because I feel this is their zone. This is their comfort space. Nairobi County government is not very famous for garbage collection. And this week they demonstrated what they are very good at, which is garbage dumping. But for me, my concern is how everyone else just watched this happen and did nothing.
Yeah.
By the way, today the National Police Service and the Ministry of Interior turned up. I don't know where from, and I would like us to listen to the CS Interior, Kipchumba Murkomen, who spoke today about the dump.
That was the most primitive thing anyone can ever do. I mean, the county government of Nairobi has the responsibility of keeping everybody in Nairobi safe. They have also a very important responsibility of public health. That was totally uncouth. It's uncalled for.
Here is the ministry, and behind him right there are police officers, very senior police officers who are running the National Police Service. They failed a very simple test. Their role also extends to social order. It's not just about politics. It's not just about stopping protesters and all that. There are so many criminal offenses that were committed on this day, and there are no policemen in sight. If it was some civil society group asking for something better than trash, there would have been a lot of action and proactive intervention by the police. But we got outrage from unlikely places, the National Assembly. Let's go there and listen to a few members of Parliament and then also the Speaker of National Assembly, Moses Wetangula.
There are criminal offences committed just under the nuisance law.
Yes.
Under environmental law, under the Health Act, under the Penal Code, and several other acts of Parliament. You can find up to 10 criminal acts committed with that act. We shall not allow this country to be reduced to a Wild West behavior. Whereas you disagree with somebody and you send goons and hooligans to go and sort out your mess, that is not Kenya. And you must stop it. So I direct you to summon the IG to find out why no action has been taken against this publicized criminal behavior by the city government of Nairobi.
What we have seen around Stima Plaza, Honorable Speaker, is these are criminal acts. And indeed, I was asking myself last night as I watched on TV, where are the police that should be ensuring there is law and order everywhere in the country? The Inspector General of Police must take decisive action. And it must begin with the drivers who drove those trucks there. Because, Honorable Speaker, it should be very easy for the Inspector General of Police through DCI to extract information as to who were the drivers who dumped there. From the drivers to the people who instructed them. Whether it goes all the way up to the governor, it should not matter. Because we should not entertain criminality in the guise of attempting to collect your debts from public institutions, Honorable Speaker.
I stand here to condemn that matter, Mr. Speaker, because it is uncouth and primitive, and it is an irresponsible way of dealing with an issue. It's unacceptable. How can you, at this time, intimidate a government institution? The Nairobi County government must apologize and must desist from that kind of act going forward. The governor must apologize to the institution called Kenya Power and Lighting Company and residents of Nairobi in general.
I wonder what that apology might look like. Maybe dumping a cake outside the Kenya Power offices. But the massive failure is that of law and order. And I think on this one, the police service failed massively and proved again how their thinking is really always around politics first.
Yeah.
It's about social order. Some of those things, we needed the police officers to really show up and take control of the space. We've seen them carry away pigs, tow away vehicles of protesters. Surely, there was a very, very big assignment at the Kenya Power offices. And you know what? It happened repeatedly.
Yeah.
So it wasn't once.
Yeah.
And the Speaker of the National Assembly there has listed some of the offenses that the police needed to have a look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sam?
You know, we have been used to seeing some enforcement officers of the Nairobi City County moving around different estates to enforce NEMA regulations on noise pollution. And some clubs have been shut down, some churches have been warned.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, so it only happens at night? So these officers cannot work during the day, or they have to hear it?
And you can't hear a stench.
You can't hear garbage.
A stench, yeah.
You can only smell it, and you need to be close to smell it. Where were they? Because they are not noise pollution enforcement officers.
Yeah.
They're environment officers.
Yes.
And part of their work is to make sure that the environment is clean. It's one of the serious devolved functions to the counties. So on that day, when they reported to the office, and I estimate that they knew there's some garbage that was being delivered somewhere with love, maybe. What did they think?
By the way, he's not just done noise. You've seen him going around with these places where the food that is cooked is unfit.
Yes.
I think the smokies and you know where they're being prepared and where those trolleys are stored, sometimes in public toilets. So he clearly knows what pollution looks like.
So if this is not the style of the county, I mean, surely they must have seen such a thing, and even their conscience should haunt them and tell them, no, this is wrong, this is what we've been advocating against. You cannot be the one to make places inhabitable for people that they have work to do on a daily basis. The Stima Plaza is the headquarters of the power utility in the country. So if you make it inhabitable, what do you expect them to do? When you go there and block the sewerage system, what are you expecting, really?
This is actually impeachable offenses, aren't they?
Yeah.
It should be.
It is.
And
because really, a county function that you've been entrusted to deliver, whether you're the governor or you're the officials, chief officer or the CEC, and the enforcement officers, including the acting county secretary who was giving that press statement. And for me, I think what was disturbing is to see them looking almost happy with their actions, smiling as if nothing
like we got them, we showed them.
And that's why some, we really hope they don't go for the small fish, even if they'll be right at the top of the pile. They should go to the bottom of the pile where all the big officials lie, where the instruction came from, where the culture is really protected. Because from that press conference, I don't know whether these gentlemen were, because they're all gentlemen, whether they're all thinking properly, because they sort of admitted that we did this, and there was some real bravado around the whole thing, which is why not the driver, by the person that
gave the
orders.
And that's, for me, the running question at the end of this night is the county owes people 119 billion shillings. They are claiming, they are disputing that they owe KPLC 3 billion shillings. They are claiming 4.8 billion shillings from them. But they owe other people 119 billion shillings.
How should those
if
guys
these
demand?
suppliers...
How many people?
Quite a number.
It's nearly 3,000. Actually, so the number of 3,000, this involves about 30 billion shillings, because the others are institutions like the Kenya Revenue Authority.
So a trash can per person.
Moja tu.
If they, if they choose, if they choose to settle their dispute with the Nairobi County in this same way,
right?
Then
let me tell you, Sam, you try. Try to do that outside City Hall. Just, I dare you.
So
in
imagine
2 seconds.
This. They owe Kenya Revenue Authority 899 million shillings in statutory deductions. So you work for City Hall or the City County, and your salary is deducted. It is never remitted to the Kenya Revenue Authority. Wow. I'm sure Kenya Revenue Authority owes City Hall something.
Some money.
Maybe in terms of rent or space, I don't know, whatever it is. Are they going to take some garbage trucks to Times Tower? Are they going to take some garbage trucks to NSSF building? Are they going to take some garbage trucks to Lab Trust headquarters? Will they do the same to the Nairobi Water Company, Water and Sewerage Company? Because they owe them some 234 million shillings. Surely, that is not how to do things.
Yeah, and Linus, what you were talking about, this being